Good morning, everybody. So first night sleeping alone in a camper van, it went as well as I could have expected, but in the middle of the night, the wind woke me up. It was like shaking the van. It was pretty nuts. This morning, I was dumping the water and I blew the fuse on the water pump, so now I need to run to an AutoZone. All right, let's do it.
Unfortunately, the blown fuse created a necessary delay, but it was resolved in no time.
Okay, so that was a quick fix. Just had to pull out the old one and pop in the new one. The water pump's working, and later on I will check and make sure I can dump the gray tank. Let's finally get on the road. I've been up since 5 a.m. It's time to go visit the thing.
We were on our way to the thing. In my mind, the epitome of a roadside attraction.
That is what I'm talking about. Billboards. I believe it's a good roadside attraction, or a good crappy roadside attraction, if you've got billboards hyping it up for miles before you get there. I think it loses a couple points though, because the billboards are starting about 20 miles away. I wish they were about 100 miles back. That would make me really want to see the thing.
I have heard about this roadside attraction for nearly 40 years. But this is the first time in my conscious life that I would be visiting the thing. I always expected it to be like the middle of the desert, not necessarily what we're seeing here. But why am I complaining? I finally made it. Though sadly, it's not a standalone attraction. It's part of a gas station and Dairy Queen.
We are in front of the thing, and we're about to head inside. It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. I'm pretty pumped to see this. I love stupid roadside attractions like this. Even if this sucks, it's gonna be worth it. So let's go check it out.
Now, it's important that I do note, I did make a standalone video that goes a little bit more in depth with this exhibit. You can check that out here. In this video, I'm just gonna skim through it kinda quick. It's only $5 to get in, which is a great deal for what they're offering. You go through a bunch of random exhibits, like aliens versus dinosaurs, and it's about a 5 to 10 minute walk before you get to the thing, which is this paper mache looking thing. Nice, cheesy, corny, exactly what you would expect.
Final thoughts. Was it worth it? 100%. You're not gonna spend all day here, but for $5 to see some cool random stuff in the middle of the desert, totally worth it, man. I even bought a t-shirt. It'll match my yellow and black shoes. Let's get this show back on the road. Okay, so my next challenge. Can I go a while without filming random crap? Unfortunately, I have to move fast today, so we'll see. No promises.
Now, it may not seem like it, but I had a big decision to make coming up. We started the day in Tucson, and we just left the thing in Benson, Arizona. Going forward, we could stay on the 10 South and head towards Roswell, or we could explore these back roads to get to a little-known roadside attraction called a very large array that's way out of the way.
Changing plans. I'm not gonna get to Santa Fe because I forgot about the hour change till at least 6 o'clock. And that's without stopping. So I've decided I'm gonna go visit a roadside attraction I tried visiting 10 years ago called the Very Large Array. It's a bunch of satellites in the middle of the New Mexico desert that was used in a bunch of 90s movies. However, we're about 4 hours away, but it does kind of cut through diagonally from Arizona to New Mexico. So at this point, we are literally in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing.
Since there's pretty much nothing for the next 4.5 hours, I'm just gonna kind of show you what these roads look like if you go this direction. So this is what we are looking at from that last exit I got off on to the New Mexico border. For the most part, the roads are pretty normal, quiet, and somewhat beautiful, although you get sick of it after 4 hours. But then suddenly, it starts becoming very curvy and almost mountainous. It makes you wonder about these roads that are less traveled. With all this talk you hear about overpopulation, these areas are massive and nearly uninhabited. It felt like I had been driving for 2 hours already. And then suddenly, it looked like I started to run into some issues.
The van had the check engine light on, and I think the fuel gauge has stopped working, so it's a little bit frustrating. I'm just tired and I'm worried that this thing's not gonna work. I'm not turning off the car right now because I don't want to get stuck in the middle of nowhere. I'm waiting until I get to a town and then I'll try shutting it off and return it on again. I hate driving like that, worrying about stuff, but hey, it's a really beautiful view. Here's some cactus.
Wow.
But on the bright side, we were about to hit the New Mexico border. And it's one of the worst welcome signs I have ever seen. But in all fairness, I don't think this is a road that is traveled often.
We are now officially in New Mexico.
Almost as soon as I entered the state, I saw a bunch of horses that appeared to be wild. I could be wrong, but hey, the idea of a wild horse is way cooler anyway. And then right after I drove past this, it started raining. Pretty heavy, and I was kind of happy to see it.
I don't mind the rain considering the last 2 days have been 115 degrees. This is actually kind of nice. It's only 82 degrees outside right now.
And the rain helped wake me up a little bit because this part of the journey was long and boring. And although I could easily take a nap in the back, I really wanted to get to a very large array before it was too dark out to see it.
Okay, so it's been a couple hours driving through New Mexico and there's pretty much been nothing. We passed a couple towns, I took a couple shots. There really wasn't much there outside of the buildings I shot and a couple other houses. Now, I'm not expecting a very large array to be worth this drive, but I really wanted to see it in 2014 when I moved from New York to San Diego. So I'm excited to finally fulfill that momentary dream. They might even be closed. Then that would really be a bummer. It's nice to at least finally try and get this off my checklist.
And the landscape slowly changed, and the sky slowly turned blue. But we still had a long way to go.
This is my second day of driving, and this is my third state. The diversity and the beauty across America is amazing. And this is only from California to New Mexico. Like, just imagine if I was doing all 50 states. That is a lifelong goal, though. Maybe one day.
One of the biggest challenges with making a video like this is how do you take hours and hours of footage of nothing and make something interesting out of it? Well, the truth is, you don't. So I'm doing my best to show you what a 4.5-hour drive through the middle of nowhere feels like in just a couple minutes. With every 10 miles or so, and with every small random town, and with every major change of scenery, the end goal is still hours away and nowhere to be seen. But still, we press on in the journey, because we know, despite the boredom and the patience that this all requires, we will get to where we're going eventually. And yes, this is an analogy for all my Christian brothers looking to live for Christ. Don't give up. We will eventually reap what we are sowing, even if we don't see it yet. Just be patient and continue to trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, and stay encouraged. Despite the peacefulness, there is some sort of maddening effect to this. When you're driving forever and there's nothing around you, it feels like you're on an abandoned road with immense beauty but vast loneliness. I always wonder what life is like for the people that live out here. We were finally almost there. It was only 30 minutes away at this point, and the skies started to turn blue. It's like the narration of the completion of our journey, was written in the skies.
Okay, now there's a very good chance I could see it from here. A very large array. It's a bunch of big moving satellites. I don't know if they're in operation or if they're transmitting signals, but I am 14 miles away. However, since there's no mountains, this is all flat ahead of me, I can see a bunch of white things in the distance. There may be a little bit of regret. I probably would have rather seen the world's largest pistachio than this, but hey, I'm glad I'm finally doing it. I am never going to be in this part of New Mexico again, unless I'm taking my son or my stepson. So let's enjoy it while we're here, right?
This is literally the middle of nowhere. I can't emphasize that enough. And these satellites are spread out over what's got to be like 20 miles. It is massive.
Oh my goodness, the wind is crazy here. There's like nobody out here. And this is it. This is the very large array. But dude, this is pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. We're literally in the middle of nowhere. There's no other cars around. There's no one around. And you got giant satellites. But when I was driving up, it looked like it was gonna suck. And then now that I'm here, it looks pretty cool. Okay, and here's the other side of my van. I'm not sure if you could actually see all the satellites. I think you have to pay to get in the park, but if you're just looking for the site of the satellites, they've got an off-road tourist parking right over here for free. That's where I'm at. This is what I like to call the daddy lens. It's the one that zooms in from really far away. This is an occasion that calls for the daddy, the big daddy.
Now, I was hoping to do something cooler with it, but the only thing I could see that was interesting far away was the garage for the satellites. And it looks like I was picking up more heat waves than the garage itself. So we finally made it. We looked at it. We enjoyed it. Now what do we do? Well, I think I've got some ideas. Nap time.
I have not taken a nap all day. Unfortunately, you don't really have a lot of time for naps. However, this would be a really cool spot to wake up to. Look, I actually have satellites out my left and out my right. That is a cool view for a nap.
But I had no time for naps. So, in conclusion,
man, I love this. This is great. No offense, world's largest pistachio, but I think this was the better choice, even though it took 4 hours to get to. This is just so cool. Like, when do you ever see giant satellites like this? There's also a very good chance that because I wanted to come here so badly in 2014 and didn't get to see it, and I wasted about 3 hours trying to get here, there might be a little bit of a romanticized idea about finally doing this. So yes, thank you, Lord, for giving me 10 years to finally do this. Let's get back on the road, man. We got to get north of Albuquerque because I'm supposed to meet my brother in Denver tomorrow. So let's do it.
The high of achieving the very large array after 4.5 hours and 10 years of mystery made me really tired. As a matter of fact, I forgot to film for pretty much the rest of the night. I just kept driving until I found a rest stop that I could fall asleep at. But before that, we were reminded of how the day started and a little confused.
Did you see that? Why are they advertising here? We're not even going in the direction of the thing. I thought it was another one. I was excited.
And from there, we drove about another 2.5 hours until we got just around Santa Fe, and we pulled over to a rest stop that had security and passed out real quick. And that's where day 3 will start next time. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.